He can erase the nightmare by hitting this one and splits the uprights.
I had to switch something up. I practiced without socks all summer, and then I started putting them on. I would have taken my pants off to make that last kick kind of a weird quirk, I guess.
Sure, Stephen Gostkowski eventually made the game winner last night, but the Titans' kicking woes continue from last season. And let's go back in time a little bit. 38 teams made less than 50% of their kicks in the 1970s. Then 10 teams struggled mightily in the 80s. And then there's Tennessee, hurting the progression of field goal kickers for all of time. With Roethlisberger in week 1, so it turns out he's still got it. But the story of the night in that game, the Steelers' defense, it was dynamic. They intercepted Daniel Jones twice last night, picking up where they left off last year as their 38 takeaways were the most under Mike Tomlin. They got after Jones with 20 pressures on 29 blitzes. Quarterbacks were 0 for 9 when facing that many pressures in a game last season. Makes it kind of tough. It wasn't just Daniel Jones that struggled. Saquon Barkley had just 6 yards on 15 rush attempts. That's 14 inches per rush. For the math for the fans at home, basically, ouch. Yep, Dan's measuring it for us. I feel bad for anybody who had Saquon in fantasy last night. Shout out Mina Kimes. Marcus, how did the Steelers defense completely take Saquon Barkley out of the game?
First of all, I'm smiling because I love defense. And the second thing is the key to stopping any good back in my 9 years playing in this league is penetration. And that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to do. They were able to stop a good back before his feet got going. Let me show you, Els. Listen, this is about the center of the line of scrimmage. Allure, you see 3 guys in the backfield before Saquon can get going. One of the keys, make them go sideways. You see the second play, they stack. Linebacker in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Again, penetration. Bud Dupree was in the backfield all night long, getting him stopped before he gets started. Another Bud Dupree off the edge, unblocked. Usually you try to get your tackle to seal the backside or at least get a hand on that end that's rushing. They couldn't do it. Bud was fast off the line of scrimmage. This is what this defense is going to pride itself on all season long. We want to take away your best player. We want to create havoc in the backfield. And once we get there, we got bad intentions and we want to cause turnovers. And that is the recipe for a really good defense, especially when you're playing against a backfield as good as Saquon Barkley.
All right, two things to slow down on. First of all, the tape business is me. All right, the tape business. Stop trying to impose on my tape breakdown. That was well done. Well done. My second thing, I want to throw a little bit of water on the praise for the Steelers defense. They were great in run defense, absolutely. I expected more out of them when it came to their coverage and their pass rush, especially when they're playing zone defense. Last year, this is the best zone defense in the NFL. Best zone defense in the NFL. Daniel Jones lit them up last night. He was 13 of 15 for $180 on them. In zone defense, 13 of 15 for 180 yards. And those 20 pressures, only 7 of them came with that front 4. I picked the Steelers to win the division. I picked the Steelers a couple weeks ago. They're not going to win the division if they don't play better when they're playing zone coverage or get in front home with their front 4.
Hey, just wait till Mina does a tape.
Marcus. Man, Dan.
Yep.
Don't we talk about quarterbacks enough on this show? Don't we praise quarterbacks enough? Can't you give credit to an incredible defense, including those garbage time numbers in your Daniel Jones stats? They were amazing. First, Marcus highlighted the phenomenal run defense, and as a Saquon owner, I felt that. The pass defense, they'll kill you with the blitz to comical effect last night, blitzing on 61% of the dropbacks, which I think is the second most any quarterback's been blitzed of the last 2 years. They'll kill you with the standard rush, which is something they excelled at last season as well. Of course, bringing Stephon Tuitt back, who's so good at rushing from the inside. But look, yes, the Giants' offensive line, not great. But did you see the speed and athleticism? Bud Dupree looked like he got shot out of a cannon. TJ Watt beginning his Defensive Player of the Year campaign early. They're good against any offense, and you will see that this season.
What is this?
Snaps.
Mina Kimes, Mina Kimes, thank you, because you saved me from going off. And then don't try to soften it up, Dan Orlovsky, by saying, I picked them to win the division. Give them credit for a defense that shut everything down. And you live 13 of 15 in zone. Who cares? They gave up 6 yards to arguably a top 3 back in the league. They created negative plays. The Giants had 29 yards rushing.
I expect them to be the best defense in the NFL.
Stop with the madness.
They need to be better in coverage, and I promise you they would admit it.
All right, I think moral
13 for 15.
Moral of the story is that Marcus Spears has the new king of the tapes on this show. Watch out, Dan Orlovsky. The NFC, our Jets reporter Rich Cimini tweeting running back Le'Veon Bell going on IR. Source confirming that. That means he'll miss 3 games. So interesting stuff from the Jets there. We're going to get to some quick reads, keeping with our little Jets theme here, but focusing on some young quarterbacks. Week 1, we hadn't gotten to talk about. Dan, what do you make of Sam Darnold, the Jets quarterback, week 1?
Sam Darnold had 1 really stupid decision and 2 bad throws. Other than that, he was outstanding. He makes 3 throws in this game that are just unbelievable. 2 to Le'Veon Bell and 1 to Crowder. Here's the thing. Sam Darnold's going to be a great player in this league. He just needs to either get away from Adam Gase or the Jets, because until that happens, they will hold him back. The talent around him is terrible, but his talent and his progression will continue to grow.
So, Laura, there was a lot of excitement around young Drew Lock, and for me, his performance last night was a mixed bag. The good, 6 for 6 in the first half, throwing when he was on the move, running. The bad, some struggles with vision, throwing deep, that sort of continued from last season against a very good defense. We'll see if he can build on this performance.
And if I want to start a season off that is the most unconventional season ever, I want Joe Burrow to be my quarterback coming out of college. He had a phenomenal start to me. Made 1 bad decision with the shovel to Melvin Ingram. But you look at a 2-minute drill with a quarterback that's able to take you down the field and give you an opportunity to score. Had it not been for offensive pass interference, would have won the game. I feel good about what Joe Burrow is going to do in Cincinnati.
Switching gears and heading west, where the NFC just might have the best division in the NFL. Here's the proof. Jared Goff and the Rams beat the Cowboys in SoFi Stadium's inaugural game. He completed 20 of 31 pass attempts for 275 yards through the air. Jamal Adams didn't skip a beat in his Seattle debut. 12 tackles, 1 sack. He was on fire. Extremely efficient, as 5 of his 12 tackles resulted in a loss of yards. And after going 1-5 against the NFC West as a rookie, Kyler Murray stunned the 49ers, 230 yards passing, 91 yards rushing in a Week 1 win. Now, the Niners held the lead in each of the first 3 quarters, but we know how this has gone in the past. They took the loss despite 0 turnovers in the contest. So Adam Schefter back here with us to talk about those Niners. And look, here's the thing. When you think about their Week 1 loss, that's one thing, Shefty, but then there's also the fact that they've got injuries piling up. What do we know right now?
And George Kittle right now has got a sprained knee, and Kyle Shanahan has said that he wants to see how George Kittle is doing on Wednesday when he comes in. But think about this. They play the Jets. He's got a sprained knee, which means he's got some sort of tear in there. Why are you going to rush back one of the great players in all of football when it's a long season and he's clearly not injured? Now, George Kittle's a tough guy. He doesn't like to miss time. But the fact of the matter is the Niners need to be very careful with George Kittle, and it could be very challenging for him to play on Sunday against the New York Jets.
Yeah, in it for the long haul, certainly there. How about Deebo Samuel with these Niners?
They put him on IR. And again, keep in mind that if you're on IR now, you must miss at least 3 games. He had the Jones fracture in his foot. Those are the types of injuries that teams like to be very careful about. When he felt some soreness and discomfort in his foot last week, at a time when they were hoping he potentially could be back for the opener, they didn't waste any time. Put him on IR. So he's going to miss at least the first few weeks. You have to figure there's a chance that Kittle doesn't play Sunday. So no Samuel, no Kittle, and they need this team to step up. Already 0-1, already in the hole, already having lost at home. So it's a tough time for San Francisco. They get the Jets this week, and the Jets are putting Le'Veon Bell on injured reserve, which means that he'll miss at least 3 games.
Yeah, lots of injuries week one. Unfortunately, Shefty's staying with us. And it's important with Deebo Samuel, too, the history going all the way back to college where he had foot injuries as well. Marcus, the 49ers, the reigning NFC champs, just in case people forgot, Jimmy G, if he doesn't overthrow Emmanuel Sanders, they'd probably be the reigning Super Bowl champs. Are they built for a return trip to the Super Bowl, especially after you hear this context on some early injuries they're dealing with?
Not at the moment.